This might not be the highest spec camera that Reolink offers, but it is purpose-built to fill a very particular need for a smart camera. One that is small, battery-powered, and can be up and ready to work in no time. That is the Reolink MagiCam in a nutshell. I'll be going over everything from general specs of the camera, as well as setup to everything you can do in the application to a battery of real-world testing. I'm Wanderer 001. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get into it. To start things off, Reolink did reach out to me and provide me with the MagiCam for the purposes of doing a review. However, they do not have any say into the content of this video. Getting some of the quick general specifications out of the way, you are looking at a camera that is 2.67 by 2.67 by 1.13 at the thickest part up here where the camera housing and everything is. Coming to the front of our camera, we've got a pretty much camera bar across the top here that is made up of an IR light. Up here at the top, you have a singular one that is 0.3 watts and 850 nanometers. You have a PIR sensor over here that is able to detect motion up to 33 feet away and has a field of view of 120 degrees horizontal. Just under that, we have our microphone. Coming over to our camera lens, there is a little bit of a channel around it, so that does help to keep water off of the lens because this is able to be used outside as well as indoors. The camera resolution is 1920 by 1080, 2 megapixels, so it's HD, not 2K quality, but that does not really detract from this camera being what it's supposed to be used for. You are looking at a field of view of 62.7 degrees vertical with a 113.3 horizontal. The camera does support 18 times digital zoom. That's going to be pinch to zoom in the application. And depending on whether you use this plugged in or on battery mode is the frames per second you get. Battery mode, you get 15 FPS, and powered, you get 20 FPS. Now, most people won't be able to tell a 5 FPS difference, and honestly, for what I use the camera for, I did both. I tested it plugged in, I tested it not plugged in, and it was very difficult even for me to notice a major difference. Just under our camera lens right there, that is an ambient light sensor, so they can switch between day and night mode. Coming to the side here, we have a rubber flap which conceals our USB-C power port. You can see it's got decent rubber channeling on there, so if you're not going to use this as a powered device, you can keep that sealed up and not run into any problems. The cable that comes with this is kind of a proprietary one for Reolink. It does have Reolink branding on it. You can see the weather stripping right there to kind of give it a nice deep recessed lock-in on that port. The cable itself is 2 inches shy of being 3.5 feet in length, so it is a little on the shorter side, but there are only a few reasons to use this powered as opposed to a just drop in place battery powered camera. Coming to the other side, we have our speaker, and there's nothing on the top or bottom. Bottom just has your setup QR information. As we come around to the back of our camera, you can see there's a little latch here that once we initiate it, we can actually open up the back of the camera. So here's our back panel. There is, again, rubber stripping around this so that this can be used outside. As we flip our door around, here we have our very strong magnet built into the back panel and obligatory magnet sticking montage for the camera. The magnet itself will allow you to have a lot of versatility in where you actually place this and how quickly you get it in place. You could put this, again, because it's a smaller camera, in some interesting locations that you might not have considered with other battery-powered cameras. As we come to the inside, we have a reset button. Here are our locks for the back door. And then here we have our AA batteries, which were included with the camera, which is nice to see. Now, there are other small form factor battery powered cameras, but they don't take replaceable batteries. They're built into the camera. It's a sealed unit. While those are good, the problem with them is you still have to take the camera down and charge it for 3 to 5 hours, depending on the size of the camera, in order to have it back up and running. With this, you simply replace the AA batteries with new AA batteries, and you're back up and running in less than 5 minutes if you have to hunt down the batteries. If I move this battery out of the way, here is our micro SD card slot. I do kind of wish that that was in a different location in the back, so I didn't actually have to turn the camera off in order to get to that. But the camera supports up to a 250 gigabyte micro SD card, as well as Reolink's Home Hub if you're looking to have a centralized location for your video clips. As I mentioned before, this does have weather stripping on it for both the USB-C as well as our back panel here. The camera does have an IP rating of 67. I had left it outside to get rained on quite a bit, so it will stand up to rain, no problem. Operating temperature is between 14 degrees Fahrenheit up to 133 degrees Fahrenheit and connects via Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz and 5 gigahertz. So whether you need longer distance or faster speeds, you have that ability. It also supports Google Assistant and Alexa for its voice assistance. The camera and cable are not the only thing that we get, so let's take a look at what else we get in the box with it. Right at the top, we have the camera. Under that, we have surveillance sticker, mounting template sticker warning, and a quick start guide. Screws and anchors, metal mounting disc with 3M tape on one side, USB-C to A charging cable, 2 AA batteries. Now that we know what else we get, I just wanted to bring the stand into focus a little bit. It is magnetized, so you get a level of adjustability for how you can place the camera. Just like that. And the stand itself can also be screwed in somewhere if you needed it to be. But now that we know everything that we get with the camera, this is a smart device, there is going to be a setup process for it. Let me show you how that was. I have already taken off the back panel, inserted the 2 AA batteries, and right there inserted the SD card. So flashing red there, we're gonna open up our Reolink app, press the plus sign, and it's prompting us to scan a QR code that's located on the bottom. We're gonna do that. And we can use this with the hub or as a standalone. I'm going to select standalone and configure Wi-Fi by scanning a QR code or already have it configured. So we're going to scan a code and it's walking us through insert the micro SD card, which I've already done. We can either do this as battery powered using the AA batteries that were provided or wire powered through the, what I thought was to charge it. So we're gonna select battery powered for now. Indicator light is flashing and we're gonna set up our Wi-Fi network here. And now it's prompting me with a QR code to scan. So I'm just gonna do that off camera. I heard a beep.
Camera is connecting to your router.
Camera is connecting to our router. I heard that as well. So we're just gonna hit next and we see that flashing there. So we're just gonna give that a moment. So
Connection to the router succeeded.
Connection to the router succeeded, and it says it's initializing. We have to set up a password just for this device. Let me do that real quick. Okay, we have inputted a password. We're gonna hit next. What are we gonna call this? Next. So we've got our smart powered mode, which after detecting motion, the device will pause briefly to prevent repeat triggers or optimal surveillance, which is records everything, higher battery usage. We're gonna select that one. Micro SD card is in there, so we're going to select format. It is strongly recommended that you put the SD card in before you put the batteries in. Now it's just kind of telling you things to avoid: sunlight, movement, fire, heat. Extended warranty page, we're going to skip that, hide that, and then we have a initialization complete, and then a QR code, which my finger is covering up, if you want to share this device with other people. I won't be doing that. So we're just gonna hit save and move on. And we'll give that a second to, there we go. So now it's gonna walk me through the install process. How are we going to mount this? I'm gonna use that demonstration. Oh, there we go. There's me, how to mount it. There's a skip button in the upper right-hand corner, which I do appreciate. And there we go. We are all set. And we are showing 100% battery and me right there. So that's set up, not bad. The other part to consider when getting a smart camera, and that is going to be the application. Hardware is one thing, but if the software doesn't do what it needs to do, no matter how simple it was to set up or place, it's not going to be worth your time. What I will say is Reolink is one of the few manufacturers that gives you AI detection of person, pet, and vehicle and notifications absolutely free. Even on this style form factor camera, they still offer you all of those options at no charge. What else can it do? Let me show you in the app. Here we can see when we load things up, it shows us a list of our cameras. It is currently listed as not connected because this is a battery powered camera and will require us to access it. Once I click into the camera, the feed loads up. Currently, I have this plugged in, and I want to say that because some of the features that I'm going to show you will change based on whether you have it plugged in to power or operating it off the batteries. In the upper left-hand corner, we have the name of our device as well as our bit rate. To the right of that, we have our alarm. Tapping this will trigger the alarm. To the right of that, we have our multi-camera view. Right now it's set on singular, but I can select that it utilizes any of the other Reolink cameras that I have. Most of them are currently turned off, so we're going to put this back to single view. We're going to get to our settings a little later. To the right of that, we have our 3 dots, which will allow us to change day-night mode. Selecting day-night mode will allow us to automatically change between the two. Selecting black and white will permanently keep it in black and white mode, and then color keeps it in color mode or day mode. Immersive will pretty much get rid of all the extra buttons. So now we just have the view of the cameras. Picture in picture, always helpful. A floating thing so I can look at other things while still having my camera accessible to me in the background. If I come to the live feed for this, we can pinch to zoom in, and the cat's around there somewhere. There you can see, digital pinch to zoom, double tapping will pull that back out. We can play pause our live feed. We have our audio on and off. We can take a snapshot of whatever happens to be in frame at this time. I can take a recording of whatever is going on in this live feed, and it'll save it to my downloads area. I can select this and go into the full screen mode. It will move some of the options around, but we'll talk about those once we get down here. Coming down, we have our talk function. I can tap to talk, and once I do this, this is full duplex. I don't have to hold anything. To the right of that, we have our playback and downloads. Now, this is where we get into some things require the camera to be plugged in at all times, and that's the 24/7 recording. Here, this is going to be showing you motion events. And from here, I can play pause, change my audio, take a snapshot, take a recording, full screen mode, just like we could before. If this is playing, I can slow it down to 0.25, and I can delete this clip, or I can download this clip. And then from here, I can adjust the clip length and then select download. Coming down, we have our timetable. So here we can see these white dates indicate when something was actually recorded. I can swap this over to an actual calendar view because when I'm filming this portion, I'm still moving the camera around, testing things out. If I select the dots or dashes over here, I can change the view. So whether I want the timeline or I want more of a thumbnail, and then I can also select X and get rid of this altogether. Lower left-hand corner, I have the ability to filter. So I can filter for person, vehicle, animal, or other. So if I filter for person, now you're going to see me when I was setting this up in the living room, walking around, testing things out. So there we go. Click on that, and you could see me walking through frame, and that is all under our filters. Selecting back, we have cloud events. If I select cloud events, I don't have a cloud service for Reolink, so it's not going to show me anything. That has been all of the camera controls that we can do. Let's come up to our settings. Right up here at the top, we have the name of our camera as well as the used space. Selecting that will also show you some other sensitive information, so I won't be bringing that up. Coming down, this is the first area that will change based on if you have the camera plugged in or not, and that's the power source. Right now, it is set for wired power. And here you can see it says wired working mode. I have it continuously recording. I have the ability to do alarm recording mode, which records automatically when motion is detected and uses AI to capture events. Continuous is the without missing a moment, heavy power consumption continuously does it. And then I have a custom mode here, which will allow me to adjust motion record schedule and then continuous record schedule. I'm going to go back to the continuous record because that's for power. If I come over to my battery, we have the smart power, which is after detecting, the device will pause briefly to prevent repeated actions from being recorded, or you have optimal surveillance, which is going to be show me what I want to see. And then just like we had before, customize mode. But this one, now we have PIR interval trigger, anywhere from 5 seconds up to 120 seconds. We have a sensitivity adjustability, and then a camera recording toggle on and off. I like that Reolink gives me this. 5 seconds is pretty good. But I'm going to go back to my optimal surveillance. Coming back to our page here, it's going to show me power usage, so wake up versus manual within the last 4 weeks, within the last 24 hours. And this section changes based on if I have wired versus batteries. Let me show you what the battery options look like. When connected to just battery, it will look like this. If I select this option now, we see power by, you see the battery icon, you can see battery type. I can select alkaline, nickel hydrate, I want to say, rechargeable, lithium, non-rechargeable, or other. And this will give the camera an idea of what it's dealing with. Here we also have our working mode. So we have the wired and battery powered. By default, it shoves me on the battery powered. And then down here, we can see its working mode. So if I come in here, last 24 hours, it's filled out a little more because I'm doing this part the day after. But here we go. I can move that along and it gives us lots of data, which I really like. But the fact that it changes it based on battery versus powered is really good to see, as well as a visual cue as to how you're actually utilizing this camera, because you can have the batteries in it and still have it plugged in. Coming down, we have our Wi-Fi. This will allow you to change your Wi-Fi. We have display next. This will actually give you a visual of what's happening. We can flip vertically. So if you needed to invert this camera, you could do so. We'll put that back. You have the ability to flip horizontally, left to right. Not as useful, but it is an option that's there and I'm happy to see it. We have stream. Selecting this will show us our stream quality. So we have resolution, frame rate, and max bit rate. You actually can't really change anything with this particular camera. So just know it's more of an informational for you. We have show motion box. Turning this on or off will put a blue box around a target that moves through frame, making it easier to keep track of them. We have camera name location, top left, top right, top center, bottom center, and hide. We also have the ability to do that for the date. Currently, I have that hidden. We have logo, which is going to be their watermark, Reolink up there, on or off. We have our image settings. So here we can adjust our brightness. This is not going to be for day-night mode. This is just going to be for the camera itself. And then we have anti-flicker, other 50, 60, or off. For my region, it's left at 60. I kind of like seeing that in this area. It makes it easier to make those types of changes. Coming down, we have our day-night mode. So we've got our switch mode set to auto. I can set it for stay in color mode or stay in black and white mode. And then from here, I have auto for color day mode, or I have manual, which will allow me to adjust highlights and shadows just for color mode, just like I can do that for black and white mode. Those are going to be the areas that you utilize to fine tune your images for those particular settings. We have privacy mask. If I add this, I'll move it like that and hit save. What this will do is add a spot in your recording or the visual display that will not be captured. So if my cat walked into that black box, I wouldn't see her and I wouldn't get a recording of her. I'm going to remove what I had in place and come back. That was all under display. Moving on to sound, we have the ability to turn on and off our audio. And then we have our device volume. Do we need to up our volume or lower it? This is where we can do that. Moving down, we have light. So we have LED status light, close or enable. Close is what Reolink refers to as off. And then we have our infrared, auto, or close. So I have it set for auto. When it gets dark enough, it will turn that infrared light on. Coming down, we have detection alarm. We can set individual alarms for person, vehicle, animal, other. If I select a specific type, such as person, so I have the ability to select either objects are bigger than this size, will not trigger, and then objects smaller than this size will not trigger. And then these are completely adjustable for your detection settings. And then you have your sensitivity, and then you have a non-detection zone. So this means I can select an area, like this chair, that I don't want to detect anything, instead of an actual detection zone. Reolink does that in reverse. But I can do that for each of these. So if I come to animal, I can do object size, I could pick my sizes, I can adjust my sensitivity, all in my detection alarm. Camera recording, it is set to on. We have our motion recording schedule. Right now I have it 24/7. I can adjust my detection type. So maybe I just want person and animal, save because this is inside right now. I don't care about vehicles or other. There we go. And then I have my continuous record schedule. That is all on. Coming down, we have push notification. Right now I have this turned off, but if I turn this on, I can select what I want to get. Text and image does require a subscription, so the push notification itself will just send you like a text message letting you know, hey, something was seen. Device notification ringtone, you can adjust that to change the sound. We can come in here and do our schedule. So for person, pet, and other, when do I want it? Right now I want it for everything. And then we have snooze alerts, and I could snooze 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hours, 8 or 24. I do wish the snooze alerts was somewhere else that was easier to find, probably on the main screen just to make it easier to click one push. Coming down, we have email alerts. This is going to be very similar to push notifications, but it's going to be for your email. You do need to set that up in order for email notifications to be sent to you. Here we have our siren. Turning this on or off will allow me to have the siren go off. Right now it's the default. I can add a custom sound. You see I have 5 seconds there to add a custom sound to tell people to get away from my camera. That's not a lot of time, so better make sure you speak quickly. And I can play this and it will play on the camera downstairs. I could redo or save. In my case, I'm going to cancel and back out of that. We can schedule this for when we'd like this and when we could schedule also for what. So for me, I only care about people. Leave the animals alone. I don't care about vehicles. Just do this for people. And we're gonna back out. Coming down, we have our smart integrations. Right now, I do not have this integrated with Alexa, but I could. Privacy mode, this is another place where we can turn on and off our privacy mode. Share this device will allow you to share this camera with somebody else, allowing them to be either a manager of the camera or view only. And you could set up an authorization time frame. Keep in mind they will need to have their own Reolink account and you'll need to know their email in order to share it with them. But the fact that I can set up limitations onto how long and what type of access I give to somebody is why Reolink has one of the most advanced consumer-based applications out there. We have time lapse. If I select try now, this will allow me to go through some presets of moving clouds, sunrise, sunset, construction, or blooming. I also have the ability to customize where I could select when I want it to start, how long I want it to be for, the duration, the interval in between, and then the file type. Keep in mind, if you're going to do time lapse, make sure it's a video and not pictures because then you'll have to stitch a bunch of pictures together on your own. Installation method will walk you through how you're actually going to be setting up the camera. Under that, we have file encryption. This is an extra layer of protection that will set up an encryption code for the SD card. So even if the device is stolen, the footage cannot be accessed unless the person has your encryption code. And then we have advanced settings. We have illegal login lockout, meaning if somebody tries to log into your account too many times with the wrong password, it will lock them out. We can change our device password. We can change our date and time. We can set up as an account device. We can reboot and restore this camera. And then if we come back to our main page right down here, we have the ability to log out of this device and then the ability to delete this device from our Reolink account. And that has been everything that we could do for the Reolink Argus MagiCam in the Reolink app. With the application out of the way, we move on to testing. This is a battery-powered camera, but it does have a powered option. So the first test that I like to run is actual power usage. And during the day, when plugged in and actively viewing the camera, you are going to use negligible amounts of power. My tester was reading between 0 to 0.5 watts of power. At night, when actively viewing the camera and using the IR lights, it used 1 watt of power, which is ridiculously low for something like this. Next, we move on to audio. How do things sound from the camera and to the camera? Let's take a listen.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, end test.
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, end test.
Alarm test. With audio out of the way, we move on to video. What I will say is over there on the right-hand side of the screen, I will have a link to a larger section of sample video that you can go through as I will not be bogging down this video with the amount of test video that I took.
An idea of what it looks like in the daytime as it's recording. Again, powered so that I can get everything, but the most that would be different is the FPS would be 15 instead of 20. But we'll do our laps, see how things look. Move on from there. Here with the lighting from this, should be able to see me better. Okay, we'll move around, doing these out of sequence, so it's much easier to not run into things like it was. There's a moving cat right over here. We will come over this way and single IR light picks me up. Oh yeah, my night vision should act up, so lap as I walk into something. We'll find out. I'll walk over this way, circle around, see if I can do this without walking into table. Okay, here we go. Table, there we go. Okay, maybe a little faster. These are the really extremes of the IR light. Probably can't see me.
Moving on, detection speed. This has both a powered and battery powered option. How do both do when detecting and sending notifications? Let's take a look. This will be a notification speed test for Reolink MagiCam plugged in on 5G. Coming around this way, about here is where I can see myself in the videos. So let's see where the PIR sensor picks me up. About 6.3, call it 6 for my slowness. We're doing this on 5G, now just battery powered, so the PIR sensor. So we'll come around here, we'll start at about the same place we did last time. Give that a second to see us, get a notification, should have waited long enough. Walking back and forth in front of it. Alright, so battery powered, does take longer. We'll call it 10.5 seconds. For what this camera is, it does remarkably well. However, that does not mean that there are not cons or limitations that I want you to be aware of when considering this camera. First, at least at the time of filming this review, there's no way to access the camera off the Wi-Fi it was originally set up on. I brought this with me on a trip and had planned to use it in the hotel room, but I could not hook into the hotel Wi-Fi with this without having to use a travel router. I wish there was a way that I could directly access the camera to make changes to the selected Wi-Fi. Next, this camera is only a 1080p resolution camera. I understand the idea behind that, but at the very least, I would have liked to see this as a 2K camera just for a little extra video clarity. Next, while Reolink does provide you a cable to use with the camera, they don't provide a power brick. So if you want to plug this into something that doesn't have a USB-A port, you're gonna have to provide your own. I know that that's splitting hairs, especially with this primarily being a battery-powered camera, but I wanted to make you aware of that in case you are considering actually using it in its powered form. And last is, while this is very quick and easy to put up because of the magnets, depending on where you put this or are using it, the magnet also means it's very easy to take down. Again, something to consider, keep that in mind, use some of those extra encryption features that the application offers you. Overall, this is a very unique camera that fits a particular use case that does not try to be all things to all people. But for those that are looking for a very compact, easily placed camera that is battery powered and backed by Reolink's security first mindset at an affordable price compared to other options, then this is the camera for you. And I can recommend it just on those merits. If Reolink takes into consideration some of the improvements that I have suggested, and some of them can be fixed with firmware in the future, this would make an even better camera. So if you're looking to dip your toe into building out a smart home or getting your first security camera, or maybe just need something to fill that blind spot in your home, then the Reolink MagiCam could fit the bill. If this sounds like the battery-powered camera you've been looking for, I will have a link where you can pick one up for yourself in the description area below. Or if you prefer, on screen now, you have a QR code that you can scan that'll bring you directly to Reolink's website where you can pick it up for yourself. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making comprehensive videos like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, hit that subscribe button. Still not sure this is the right battery-powered camera for you? On screen now, you'll see 2 other reviews that I've done to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.